So, like we were saying, what our forefathers did was just crossbreeding, and in that way, the genetic line is preserved. No gene was deleted, no gene was altered, and it wasn't by human manipulation. It was by nature. The recombination process, everything was by nature. So whatever result you are getting from that crossbreeding was basically by nature, as nature intends it to work, guided by the laws of genetics. Now, but if you come to GMO, the technology behind GMO, genetic modification, now that one is purely human, one, and again, it doesn't give room for nature. It's purely human manipulation. That's one. Two, it goes into the genetic makeup of that organism. So in that way, you can alter anything, you can add anything, you can remove whatever you want to remove. So if you talk about GMOs, and this is the reason why, let me explain why some crops, why GMO crops, you can't replant them again for the next planting season. Now, in the genetic makeup of every plant, whatever instruction as regarding their life, whatever instruction is encoded in the DNA, in the gene, in the DNA. Now, when it comes to reproduction also, that one is also in the DNA too. Now, in the gene, they target, like I said, they target a specific gene, then alter it to carry out the instructions that they desire for that plant. So there could be a termination code that is introduced into that gene. Now, if you plant that, a termination code, now that termination code is not like the plant should die afterward. It might be that when the seed produces after one generation, when you plant the seed from that produce to produce the second generation, it might not produce again in the second generation. How will I explain that? Let me explain it again. Let me explain it again in a way that we can understand. So let's say you have seed 1, seed A1, and that seed A1 is a genetic modified seed. And the way they modify it now is this: they modify it such that the instruction, the gene responsible for reproduction in that seed, the way nature intends it before is the seed should reproduce over and over again, which means if you plant a seed, it produces one generation of fruits. In that fruit, there is also seed again that you can plant and produce another generation, so on and so forth. Now, what they do in GMO is this: they can target the gene responsible that is responsible for the reproduction. Now, in that reproduction, they alter the gene such that the instruction on that seed now would be that after reproducing for just once, the fruit that you are going to produce in that once after planting, if you remove the seed in that fruit and replant it again, one of two things will happen: is either the seed will not grow entirely, or the seed will grow but will not produce fruits, because of the fact that when the initial seed that was produced came to that full circle, the full life circle, when it came to that full life circle, when it's supposed to produce now, that termination instruction will not be carried out. So even if you produce seed, the seeds will be sterile, which means that if you replant the seed that you produce again from the second generation, it will grow up but will not produce fruits, or it will never grow at all. Now, again, why it is very sinister is this: because of the fact that it will not produce fruit, you who is a farmer will have to run back to the company that gave you that seed to buy for you to replant again for the next planting season. So you basically have sold out your right to food production to a company. Now, again, people need to understand this. GMOs are inventions. They invent them. They are inventions. That's why they patent it. They are patented. Like the same way somebody can manufacture a car and put a patent on it, that's the same way they manufacture this seed. They alter this seed and put a patent on it. So it's basically an invention. It's not something in nature. That's why you can't patent food that are grown in nature. So how do you think that something that has been patented like that can actually be a proper be something that will be good for you? Two, why genetic engineering, to me it is very sinister, is this: because you can actually put an instruction to carry out a specific thing, you can also alter it to become a weapon. Let me explain. I don't know if it is the telomeres or so, but I know they said one of the GMO plants, that when pests eat it, I don't know if it is telomeres or no also, that the pest dies. The thing is, if you are, how can you be comfortable with something that nature runs from? Because for something that can come up and kill an insect, something nature, because the way God designed everything is that everybody will depend, that will feed from what He has produced, what He created. So you don't see the birds going to farm. The bird actually depend on the fruits that you can see. The same way with insects. So if you genetically engineered a crop, and when an insect or a bird or anything, a pest eats it and dies, how do you feel that thing can be very, very healthy for you as a human being to eat, and you still think that you will still be alive after consuming it? So it means that if you can genetically modify a plant like that to kill anything, you can actually alter it again to kill a population if you want to. This is not, well, call it a conspiracy theory, but it makes sense, because if something like that can be altered to kill an insect just by consuming it, it means that it can also be altered to kill a human being if it is if they want that intention to be the case. Now, apart from the dependency issue, again, we have to look at what it is. GMO destroyed the soil structure, because before you talk about that one, how is it that they talk about this climate change conversation? They put this climate change narrative and all that one, but nobody talks about how this GMO this thing is affecting it. Because definitely, if you want to plant a GMO, you have your own fertilizer to talk about it, to use. If you plant it in a soil, it destroys the soil structure. It kills off the organisms that are in the soil that actually supposed to aerate the soil, and make the soil to have air. That's supposed to put more nutrients into the soil. It kills it. Now, if it kills it, because it kills it, we plant any, that soil becomes useless for local production. So if you plant anything local there, it cannot do well again, because the GMO and the fertilizer they use in growing it has already killed it. Now, this is how GMO even erase your local fruits, your local crops. Now, because I told you that GMO can be engineered to stop after one production, after producing just only once. Now, imagine a GMO that can be programmed like that, now cross-pollinating or cross-breeding, either to by human accident or by butterfly, birds, wind, even wind. It's not cross-pollinating with a local crop in that locality. Now, that local crop will produce seeds